The night was cold and quiet on the alien planet Zalera. Commander Ray stepped off his small ship, feeling the strange wind touch his face. Above him, twin moons glowed red, casting long shadows across the ground. The palace stood in front of him, tall, dark, and covered with glowing blue vines. He had never seen a place so beautiful, so silent. Ray was here because of a special invitation. An invitation no other human or alien had dared to accept. The Princess of Zalara was waiting inside. She was the daughter of the High Queen, but no one had ever seen her face. There was a rule. No one could bond with the princess without first seeing her face. But also, seeing her face was said to bring death. All the noble warriors, rich traders, and powerful leaders had refused this challenge. Some called it madness. Others whispered that the princess herself was cursed. But Ray was curious. He didn't believe in curses. He believed in truth. As he walked toward the palace doors, two alien guards stood in his way. They had gray skin, golden eyes, and long spears that glowed with strange energy. The guards didn't speak. They only stared at him for a moment, then slowly stepped aside. Inside the palace, the air was heavy and warm. The walls were made of silver stone, shining softly in the moonlight. Every step Ray took echoed in the large, empty hall. Strange symbols glowed along the floor, like an ancient path leading him forward. At the end of the hall was a grand door. It was carved with pictures of stars, planets, and strange creatures. Ray reached out and pushed it open. The door made a deep sound, like thunder far away. In the center of the next room sat the princess. She wore a long silver dress that sparkled, and over her head was a thick, dark veil. The veil hid her face completely. No part of her skin could be seen, except her hands, which rested quietly on her lap. Beside her stood the royal advisor, an old alien man with pale blue skin. His voice was deep and soft as he spoke. "Commander Ray, don't. You are the only one brave enough to come. Do you understand what this means?" Ray nodded. "I do. But I don't fear what I don't know." The advisor looked at the princess then. Back at Ray. "Many have tried before you. All refused to bond. All feared what lay under the veil." Ray took a step closer. The princess did not move, but he could feel her watching him from under the veil. He felt her presence, strong and mysterious. The advisor spoke again. "The bond must be made tonight, but you must decide. Will you trust the princess, without ever seeing her face? Or will you demand to look, as the others did, and fall like them?" Ray's heart beat faster. He knew there was danger, could feel the tension in the room like a sharp knife in the air. But he also felt something else, a strange pull toward the princess. Like destiny itself was calling him forward. He spoke calmly. "I am here because I trust. I will bond without seeing." The advisor's face showed surprise. He stepped back, almost afraid. "Then you are truly different, human." Suddenly, the princess raised her hand. Slowly, carefully, she pointed to a chair across from her.
"How?"
Her voice came soft but clear from under the veil. "Sit, human. Speak with me. The bond is not just words, it is trust." Ray sat. The princess did not move again. For a moment there was silence. Then she asked, "Why do you trust me, when you know nothing about me?" Ray smiled a little. "Because sometimes the truth is not in the face, but in the voice." The princess was quiet, but he felt something change. The air grew warmer. A soft light glowed around her. It was as if the palace itself was watching them, far away, deep. In the shadows of the hall, unseen eyes observed. Dark forces whispered. Not everyone wanted this bond to happen. Danger was close, but Ray didn't know yet. The princess spoke again. "The bond begins now, but there will be tests. Hard tests. You must prove your courage and your heart." Ray leaned forward. "I accept." With those words, the door behind him slowly closed. Locking with a heavy sound, Ray was now trapped inside the palace, alone with the princess and the secrets of Zalara. The mysterious arrival was only the beginning. Asterisk. Commander Ray sat quietly in front of the veiled princess. The soft light around her made her look almost like a ghost. She did not move, but her presence filled the room. The heavy door behind him had closed, locking him inside this strange palace. Then, without warning, a low hum began. The floor under Ray's feet trembled slightly. The princess raised her hand again and spoke softly. "You must follow me now, human. The test begins." Ray stood up. His heart beat fast, but his face stayed calm. The princess did not walk. She seemed to float as she moved, her silver dress gliding over the glowing floor. The silent hall ahead of them was long, cold, and dark. Strange statues stood on each side, statues of alien creatures Ray had never seen before. Their eyes seemed to watch him as he passed. No guards, no advisors, just silence as they moved. Deeper into the hall, Ray noticed something strange. The walls were covered with mirrors, but none of them showed his reflection. Only the reflection of the princess could be seen, her veiled face and flowing dress shining in every glass surface. "Why can't I see myself?" Ray whispered. The princess paused and answered, "This is a place of truth. The mirrors here show only what is hidden, or what is feared." Ray frowned. His reflection was gone. Was that because of fear, or because he was not welcome? Suddenly, a voice echoed around them. It was not the princess's voice. It was deep, cold, and full of hate. "Human, turn back now. This bond is a mistake. You do not belong here." Ray stopped. He looked around, but the hall was empty. The princess did not seem surprised. "The silent hall tests your mind," she said gently. "Many who walk here lose their courage. The voices will try to break you. Ignore them if you can." Ray took a breath and kept walking. More whispers filled the air. The statues seemed to move slightly, their heads turning just a little as he passed. The mirrors flickered, showing terrible images, now images of broken ships, burning planets, and lonely deaths. Ray felt a cold fear grow in his chest, but he clenched his fists and focused on the princess. No. She was his guide here. She was the reason he had come. After many steps, they reached a small black door at the very end of the hall. The princess stopped and spoke again. "This is your first true choice, human. If you open this door, you will enter my world. If you refuse, you may turn back, but the bond will end forever." Ray stepped closer to the door. He felt heat coming from it now, and he could hear strange sounds behind it, like wind and distant voices crying. He looked at the princess. Though he couldn't see her face, he felt that she was watching him very closely, waiting to see what he would do. Then he smiled and placed his hand on the door. "I came this far," Ray said quietly. "I'm not turning back now." The door slowly opened with a deep, heavy sound. But what lay beyond was not what he expected. There was no normal room behind the door. Instead, there was a giant open space, full of stars like the inside of a galaxy itself. Floating platforms of stone hung in midair, leading deeper into the strange space. The princess stepped onto the first stone platform and waited. Ray followed her. The door behind them closed and disappeared completely, leaving them floating in this strange, beautiful, and dangerous place. Far above them, a single star glowed brighter than all the others. The princess finally spoke again. "This is where the real test begins, human. To bond with me, you must face the truth of this place, and of yourself." Ray nodded. He was ready. But deep inside, he knew this was just the beginning of something far greater than he had imagined. Commander Ray stood beside the veiled princess, both of them floating in the endless star-filled space. The stone platforms ahead stretched into the distance, forming a strange path. Each stone glowed faintly, like it held old memories. Ray stepped, carefully following the princess. Every step felt heavier, as if unseen forces were pulling at him. The silence around them was deep, but inside his mind, questions roared. Where are we? What is this place? After a few steps, the princess stopped. Without turning, she spoke in her soft voice, "Human, before you can bond with me, you must learn the truth. My secret is older than your species itself." Ray looked around. Stars flickered above, and far below, shadows moved slowly across the dark. He felt small in this strange place. The princess waved her hand gently. In front of them, a large floating crystal appeared. It shimmered with blue light, and inside the crystal was a face. Ray froze. Face inside was beautiful, but not fully formed. It looked almost like the princess's face, but strange marks ran across its skin, and its eyes glowed white. The crystals slowly spun in the air. The princess spoke again, her voice a little sad now. This is what they fear. This is why no one dares bond with me. Ray stepped closer to the crystal. What is this? A memory? A person? The princess nodded slowly. This is what I become if the bond fails. Her words echoed in Ray's mind. He stared at the glowing face inside the crystal. It looked trapped, frozen in time, neither alive nor dead. A cold feeling ran down his spine. The ancient secret of my people, she continued, is that we are bound by a curse. Our faces, they are not just flesh. They hold the energy of all who came before us. If a bond is made without true trust, my face will change forever, and I will be lost trapped like this crystal. Ray's breath caught. This was no ordinary curse. The danger was real, and worse than he had imagined. It wasn't just his life at risk, it was hers too. The princess turned slowly to face him, though her veil still hid her true face. This is why they fear. This is why they turn away. No one has ever trusted enough. Toward the crystal, the glowing face inside seemed to stare at him, as if waiting for his decision. Then he spoke softly. You say they never trusted enough? But maybe they never cared enough. The princess's head tilted slightly as if surprised by his words. Pause hung in the air. Suddenly, a deep crack appeared in the crystal. The glowing face inside blinked for the first time. The shadows below them stirred, and a dark voice whispered from the depths, You should leave, human. This is not your fight. Ray felt fear rise in his chest, but he clenched his fists again. He looked directly at the veiled princess. Came to bond, he said firmly, not to run. The princess raised her hand. The crystal cracked again, then shattered into a million glowing pieces that floated into the air, surrounding them like stars. In that moment, the stone platform under their feet began to shake. The stars above grew brighter. The strange space around them shifted, as if they had passed some invisible test. The princess spoke one final time in this chapter. You have seen the ancient secret, human, and you did not turn away. The next test awaits. But beware, others will try to stop us now. Ray nodded. He was ready, but deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning of the true danger. Commander Ray stood still, his heart racing, as the pieces of the shattered crystal floated around him. The princess's soft voice echoed gently in the vast star-filled space. You did not run from the truth, but trust is not just words. Now comes the real test. She raised her hand slowly and pointed toward a floating stone path ahead. The platforms now led into complete darkness. No stars, no light, only shadows waiting. Ray nodded. I'll follow. They began walking side by side. The air felt colder here. The silence was heavy, but Ray felt he was not truly alone. Something was watching them from the shadows. After a few steps, the princess stopped. Before them, 3 doors appeared from the darkness. Each door was made of a different material, one of glowing silver, one of old wood, and one of black stone. The princess turned her veiled face toward him and spoke. One door leads forward. One door leads to danger. One door leads nowhere. You must choose alone. But you can only ask me one question. Ray studied the doors carefully. None gave any hint. No sound, no smell, nothing that could guide him. Then he looked at the princess again. She stood silent, waiting. Ray thought for a moment and asked, if you were me, which door would you avoid? A pause. The princess raised her hand and pointed gently at the door made of silver. Without hesitation, Ray walked past the silver door and stood in front of the old wooden one. He smiled slightly. Hey, then this must be the path forward. He pulled it open. Behind the door was a narrow bridge hanging over a glowing river. The water below shimmered with strange colors: blue, green, red, and, deep inside the river, strange shapes moved slowly. The bridge looked weak, old, and ready to break at any moment. The princess spoke softly from behind him. This is the bridge of trust. You must cross alone. I cannot follow unless you believe in me. Ray stepped onto the bridge. The wood creaked loudly under his feet. Below, in the glowing river, dark shadows swirled faster, as if hungry. Halfway across, the bridge began to shake. Boards cracked and splinters flew. A voice rose from below, a dark, angry voice. She will betray you. Turn back, human. Ray froze for a moment. The shadows in the river below reached up like claws. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and spoke calmly. I choose to trust, not because I'm sure, but because trust means stepping forward even when you're not. With those words, he took another step. Suddenly, the bridge glowed with bright light. The shaking stopped. The shadows below screamed and vanished into the depths. Ray opened his eyes and smiled. He had reached the other side. The princess was waiting for him there end, though she had never stepped onto the bridge. How? Ray asked, surprised. She tilted her head gently. When you truly trust, human, I do not need to walk beside you. I walk with you, even unseen. A warmth filled the air around them. The glowing river behind them faded, and the darkness began to lift. But before they could speak again, a loud sound echoed through the space, a sharp clang, like metal striking. Metal dark figures appeared ahead, stepping out from the shadows. They were tall, armored, and armed with strange glowing weapons. The princess whispered quickly, the elders. They come to stop us. Ray clenched his fists. He had passed the tests of trust, but now a new danger had arrived. This was no longer a test of mind. It was a test of courage and survival. The path forward was about to become even more dangerous. Commander Ray stood still as the armored figures stepped forward. The elders of Zalara, their tall, shining helmets hid their faces, and their weapons glowed bright blue. They moved without sound, surrounding Ray and the veiled princess. One of the elders raised his staff and spoke in a cold voice. Human, you have gone too far. No outsider may bond with our princess. Another elder stepped closer, pointing his weapon at Ray's chest. Turn back now, or you will not leave this place alive. Ray did not move. He kept his eyes on the princess. Her veil covered her face completely, but he could feel the tension in her body, the fear she tried to hide. Then, slowly, she stepped in front of Ray. Her voice was calm but strong. He has passed the tests. He has earned the right to choose. First elder spoke again, louder this time. He may choose, but the final test must come now. He must look upon your face. A silence filled the space. Ray's heart pounded. You remember the stories. Those who see the princess's face never return. The princess lowered her head. Slowly, she reached up with both hands and touched the edges of her veil. Ray spoke gently. You don't have to do this. I trust you already. The princess shook her head. This is the law of my people, Ray. To complete the bond, you must see me. And decide if you still wish to stay. The elders watched silently, with a slow, graceful movement. The princess pulled back her veil. For the first time, Ray saw her face. She was beautiful, but not in a way he expected. Her skin was smooth, but shimmered with strange patterns, glowing softly, like stars on a night sky. Her eyes were silver, deep and endless, reflecting galaxies. A faint mark ran from her forehead to her chin, like an ancient symbol. But it was not her beauty that froze Ray. It was the feeling her face carried: power, sadness, and hope, all at once. Then something strange happened. Ray felt a sharp pain. In his mind, as if 1,000 voices were speaking at once, the memories of her people, their history, their pain. It was all inside her face, inside her eyes. This was the curse. This was why others had failed. The elders waited for him to collapse, to scream, or to run. But Ray stood firm. He looked, into her eyes and whispered softly, "You carry so much. But you are not alone anymore." The voices in his mind quieted. The pain faded. A warm light filled the space around them. The elders stepped back, shocked. The leader spoke in disbelief. "No one has ever survived the reveal?" The princess's eyes widened slightly. "You are different, Ray." Ray reached out and gently touched her face, feeling the warmth of her skin and the life within her. "Your face is beautiful, not because of how it looks, but because of what it means." The stars above them grew brighter. Suddenly, the space around them began to shift. The darkness melted away, and the path ahead opened into a golden light. The princess lowered her veil again, but this time, it was her choice. She turned to the elders and spoke firmly. "He has passed the final test. He has seen my face." The elders slowly lowered their weapons. But as they did, shadow moved in the distance. Far away, hidden from their sight, an enemy was watching a darker force. One who did not want the bond to succeed. The true danger had not yet begun. Asterisk. The golden light surrounded Commander Ray and the princess as they stood together. The elders had lowered their weapons, shocked by what they had witnessed. No outsider had ever survived seeing the princess's face. Ray thought for a moment that the hardest part was over. He felt a quiet peace as he stood beside her. He had earned their respect, and their bond was almost complete. But peace never lasts for long. Without warning, the ground beneath them trembled. A cold wind rushed through the space, blowing out the golden light. The stars above dimmed, and a deep shadow spread across the floating platforms. The elders turned quickly, weapons raised again. Their leader shouted, "We are not alone." From the shadows stepped a figure unlike any Ray had seen. All like, and cloaked in black armor that reflected. No light, the figure's face was hidden behind a sharp mask shaped like a skull. His voice was low and full of venom, so the human thinks he has one. The princess's voice trembled for the first time. "The Shadow Regent, he was banished long ago. How can he be here?" The Shadow Regent laughed, a cold, terrible sound. "I was waiting for this moment. If you bonded, the curse would have broken, but I will stop it now. You will remain cursed forever, princess." With a sudden movement, the Shadow Regent raised a dark staff. A shockwave of black energy blasted outward, knocking the elders to the ground. Ray stepped in front of the princess, shielding her with his body. The air was freezing now. The stone platform beneath them cracked and groaned. The Shadow Regent pointed his staff at Ray. "Human, your trust means nothing. You do not belong here. Leave, or die." Ray's mind raced. He had passed the tests of trust. He had seen the princess's true face and survived. But this enemy, this was different. This was not a test. It was a fight for their lives. The princess placed a hand on Ray's shoulder. "Ray, I must protect you. I can stop him, but I will have to use the power of my face again if I do. The curse may return." Ray shook his head quickly. "No, there must be another way." The Shadow Regent began to advance, dark energy swirling around him. The ground beneath Ray's feet crumbled further, pieces falling into the endless void below. Ray closed his eyes for a brief second. Thinking hard, then he stepped forward. "You want me gone?" Ray called out loudly. "Then you will have to face me first." The Shadow Regent hesitated, confused by Ray's boldness. "You, single human? You cannot stop me." But Ray smiled slightly. "I may be alone, but I carry something you never will." The Shadow Regent laughed again. "And what is that, human?" Ray answered clearly. "Trust." With that single word, the broken platform beneath them began to glow. The pieces of shattered crystal from earlier floated back together. Forming a circle of light around Ray and the princess, the Shadow Regent roared in anger and raised his staff to strike. But this time, the princess stepped forward beside Ray. Together, she said softly, "We finish this. Together." The elders, still weak but watching carefully, saw something no one had seen before. A bond not based on fear or power, but trust, real and pure. The circle of light grew brighter, pushing back the shadows. The Shadow Regent screamed as the light reached him, tearing through his dark armor. His body faded into dust, and with that, the darkness lifted completely. The golden light returned. The stars shined brighter than ever. The elders knelt silently, bowing their heads. Ray turned to the princess. "Are you all right?" She nodded, though her eyes glistened with emotion. "You did what no one else could. You chose trust. Even when it seemed impossible." Ray smiled gently. He didn't do it alone. But deep in his heart, he knew the journey was almost complete. One final step remained. The darkness was gone. The Shadow Regent had been defeated. The stars above Zalara shined brighter than ever, casting a soft silver glow over the floating platforms. Commander Ray and the princess stood together at the center of the light. The elders remained silent, watching carefully. For the first time, they lowered their heads not in anger, but in respect. The princess slowly turned to Ray. Her voice was soft but steady. "The path is almost complete, but one last thing remains: the bond itself." Ray nodded. He had passed all the tests: the silent hall, the bridge of trust, the reveal of her face, and the battle with the Shadow Regent. But the true bond, the heart of this journey, had yet to be sealed. The princess stepped closer and raised her hands gently. "Do you truly choose me?" she asked quietly. "Even now, knowing what I carry, knowing that my people doubted, knowing that danger may return." Ray met her gaze, even though her veil was now back in place. "I choose you because I trust you," he said. "Not because I have seen everything, but because I have seen enough." The princess smiled softly beneath her veil. With a slow, graceful movement, she removed the veil once more. This time, there was no curse, no pain. Her face shined like the stars above, full of life and freedom. In that moment, the ancient curse was broken forever. A warm wind blew gently across the platforms. The glowing crystal shards that had floated around them gathered together, forming a crown, a symbol of their union. The princess lifted the crown and placed it gently on Ray's head. "You are no longer just a visitor, human," she said proudly. "You are now bonded with me and with Zalara itself." The elders stood tall and spoke together for the first time. "The bond is complete. The curse is ended. A new age begins." Ray felt a warmth in his heart that he could not explain. He had come as an outsider human from a distant world. But now he was part of something far greater, a bridge between two species. The princess reached for his hand. Her fingers were warm and soft. When their hands touched, the golden light around them pulsed brighter, rising up into the stars. From far away, the people of Zalara watched as the sky above their world changed. A new star appeared in the heavens, a bright silver light that would forever remind them of this day. The princess turned to Ray one last time. "You were the only one who dared to bond without seeing my face. But now, you have seen it fully. You have accepted me." Ray smiled gently. "You accepted me too." Together, they walked forward, side by side. Their journey was complete, but their story was just beginning.